Good evening. This is the Rutland Town Planning Commission. It's March 27th of 2025. Let's begin our meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's a humbling in this.
Great. Well, welcome everyone. Moving down through the agenda, approval of the agenda is the first item this evening.
Move to approve the agenda for this evening. Yes, second.
Sherman. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Hi.
I could have done.
Hi, Mary Beth.
Hi. Oh, I just realized that you may not know it's me, but I had to call in for my phone.
Okay.
We heard your lovely voice, Mary Beth, and we knew that it was you.
Ah.
So everyone in attendance can vote.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
New business. We don't really have any. We are waiting to connect with Kevin Brown, the town attorney, coming up in a few minutes. And that's part of old business, so we'll skip over that. That's a discussion of the draft subdivision ordinance.
Yep. Do you want any update while we're waiting for Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, Bill and Norman and I met 2 days ago to continue our work on the subdivision regulations, and we have now completed the section 4. And that leaves us, and we started section 2. Section 2 is the final section that we need to review for the task that the Planning Commission gave the subcommittee. We took some notes on 2.0, one of the first sections, 01, I believe, and we're focusing on cultural features. We thought that it would be helpful to have a cultural features map, and that we will need to cross-reference any language that we put in this section of the subdivision regulations with the town plan, and have similar language in the town plan, both of which will reference state statutes. That was one of the recommendations that Kevin gave us in his letter back in September.
What are cultural features exactly?
So glad you asked. We did a little bit of Google searching, and cultural features can be buildings, structures, places of worship, cemeteries. And here in the town, it could even be something like the polo fields, something that has cultural value and historical significance. It could be a fairgrounds, like in Rutland City. That could be a cultural feature. Religious institutions, the water tower up on North Main Street could be a cultural feature since it's been there for a long time. The Railroad Museum, we also mentioned that down here. That can be a cultural park. Yeah, Pine Hill Park, exactly. And state historic preservation sites.
So how does this relate to subdivisions?
Because there is a specific reference in the subdivision regs, which actually is a reference back to state statute, and the state statute says that planning, the subdivision regulations must include those in terms of how it's regulated. So when you're making a determination about a subdivision, that has to be taken into consideration as to whether or how and whether that area or parcels can be subdivided. So it provides local communities the opportunity to have some say about the subdivision of land.
So if a location makes it on that list, it cannot be subdivided?
That's not, I don't think, the conclusion, but that we have some authority over which how to regulate the
Wasn't
subdivision.
prohibitive, but it was something that has to be taken into consideration.
Right. And so for the preservation of those cultural features, there might have to be a mitigation measure. to some extent like screenings as we have in our
Energy plan.
energy plan and also in the view shed um, um, what is it? Section of the municipal plan. So anyway, it gives the municipality latitude in providing some
It's
a
really about,
consistency.
if I may.
Yeah, let me finish my thought. Providing some consistency and some well-defined expectations about what's needed to preserve those cultural features.
I was just gonna say it protects, it seems to provide that the planning commission is aware of it. And aware of these cultural and gives consideration to their protection and preservation. And it's not any more specific than that. But at first I think both of us were a little puzzled. And as we dug into it with Bill, it did seem to make sense.
So.
I write down the section with that. That's just one
So
of the things.
section one's the only thing left to do?
No. Section 2 is the only section
Section
left to
two,
do.
okay.
We looked at section 2.01 and we made some suggestions around wording later in a subsequent section, I think. We'll be picking up with 2.02 and 2.03, but on page 7, Kevin Brown made some notes and we are making a recommendation to the Planning Commission to change the wording from sketch plan to preliminary plat. And the reason is because a sketch plan is very ambiguous, whereas a preliminary plat has some consistent expectations for all submissions.
There's no standards for
There are no standard.
for a sketch plan. There's no.
As Bill said, you could take a crayon and put it on a piece of paper and submit that, which might not tell us anything. So, whereas a preliminary plat has some more consistent features and requirements that would allow us to make more informed decisions as well as asking any probing questions. I think we've had some history with good sketch plans and less than good sketch
So
plans.
does a plat mean that's something that, the language, does that mean it's something that's developed by a surveyor?
I don't think it has to be, or does it,
Well,
Bill?
that's typically where it would come from. Yeah.
Okay,
I think we need to talk that through. I don't think somebody should have to go to that to see if we have a preliminary.
plat.
Yeah, I just think it's a lot of money that maybe somebody doesn't want to spend to get to that point. But I'm more than,
Yeah, we can talk about it. That was just a recommendation that our small committee came up with
Yep.
as a result of some other ambiguities in Kevin's recommendation. So,
Mhm.
but that's all for discussion.
Yep.
That we're not making a change without conversation as a planning board.
Okay, so what are your next moves?
Well, our next moves are to schedule a follow-up meeting. Once we hear what Kevin might have to say to recommend to us tonight so that we can be more focused on the specific areas that we need to pay attention to. And so we met on Tuesday, we did not set a follow-up meeting, which we've done every time since. But we knew that we were having this meeting tonight and felt that it was best to wait until we had more specific information, and then we'll take some time at the end of this meeting just to set our next, which will probably be between now and our next planning commission meeting. It's been that way. We work every, week to 10, week or 2 weeks to 10 days, something like that. 10 days to 2 weeks.
How up to speed is Kevin on your work?
Bill has been providing Kevin with a series of questions when we haven't adopted his language or recommendation directly. So what we usually do is we check off saying that we've either stricken something that Kevin said we should strike, or we've included language that Kevin has recommended. Where there is something open for interpretation, we'll be bringing that back to you. So those things Kevin might know, but might not know. But I can't think of more than a handful of items like that at this point in time. So yeah, it's not a lot. And some of those are either minor or they have to have a discussion like this one. So this is one type of identified area that we need to bring back to the planning commission for discussion.
Any questions of the group? For the
We've done a
group?
lot of cross-referencing with other documents that we have, including 1844. Is that right? 4418? What's that? 4418 of the statutes. We go and reference that quite frequently because that's the statutory reference that Kevin has highlighted for many of his comments. So we're going to make sure we go back and make sure that whatever we are suggesting is consistent with that statute. And Kevin's recommendations usually come directly out of that statutory reference. So it's just to inform ourselves about what we will eventually tell you. And last time we were talking a little bit about how we'll make that presentation. So.
To the commission.
Right.
To this group, yeah, the whole group as a whole.
And it's likely to be a document that we are putting before you for your review comments. And then we will do some references back to either Kevin's document or to something that was in the original clean draft that Bill sent out. That way, if somebody wants to see what the language was, you can pull that up and look at it. But otherwise, we're not going to expect people to go through and read that and Kevin's and this new document. So we'll focus all of the discussion on the new document with references back to the other ones.
Well, basically, whatever new document we come up with will be cross-referenced to Kevin's letter, so you can see where we're coming from. And you may need to go back and get the existing subdivision regulations to read along with it.
And if there are references to the municipal plan, then we will also reference those page numbers. And if language needs to appear in the municipal plan, as Kevin has suggested a couple of times, then that new language would be recommended, even though the municipal plan is not being amended at this point in time.
Soon. in a few
Right.
Years.
But in terms of the in terms of the chronology, we're not necessarily expecting that the municipal plan will be updated before we adopt the language that will reference the plan. And then the plan would, when re-examined, will include that language so that we're not
You mean would have to go back in and change the,
the town plan, the municipal plan.
right. But if you're referencing it in the subdivision, if you're referencing pages in the town plan,
I don't think we've gotten that far yet.
No, we haven't. But maybe sections instead of pages.
Section, right. As referenced in the
Definitely.
section, because there are some sections in the municipal plan that do not have the required language to support the subdivision regulations that Kevin has recommended.
how big of a problem is that?
Right now, it's fairly simple. It's a question of adding about a half dozen words that
So
we've seen.
amending the municipal plan.
Amending the municipal plan to include those references so that what the subdivision regulations include are supported by the language in the municipal plan. Because the statutes reference municipal plans as one of the areas of authority for the subdivision regulations. Yes, it's a headache. Norman has told us on more than one occasion that it's a
What?
headache. That it's a headache. I saw the look on Sherman's face when I finished my comment about referencing the municipal plan, and it looked pained. And I'm just assuring him that
That
you
we
and
feel-
I have had similar.
Yeah, we feel your pain.
We feel your pain.
It is a uphill climb. And Bill and Dana are to be commended for the work and the overall comprehension of what's going on and what is required. But I think in a sense, it may be a circular problem if we make references to the town plan and the town plan is changed, then we have to come back to the subdivision regulations. But if we wait, then it doesn't. So it's a circular situation. It's probably just an
Yeah,
ongoing.
but the town plan continually gets changed. It's up to 8 years now,
Yes.
so it's kind of
But,
an
yeah, and
ongoing.
we'll just have to keep an eye on it, that if it is changed and it doesn't, and some things change that will impact the subdivision regulations, we'll need to, to think about that either as we go along or after it's done, we're gonna have
And
to.
Kevin may have suggestions about how we can do that more seamlessly.
And the next round of revisions will be our suggestion that Sherman and Howard and somebody else, Jerry, do it.
And Norman's ready to draft just about anybody at this point.
I'm sorry?
I said, you're ready to draft just about anybody at this point.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for the town attorney, let's skip down to River Corridor Ordinance, which I didn't have a chance to get to Kyle. Our questions and such, but Norm, thank you for your new set of comments. And hopefully, depending on what goes on with the subdivision ordinance, hopefully we'll have more to work with the River Corridor Ordinance at our next meeting. Down to announcements, the grant proposal we put in for the Pocket Park didn't make it. So we'll start from scratch there.
It's too bad.
Yeah, they were concerned about ADA access. It was too limited. They've always been concerned about it being so close to the river. Yeah, and I think there was some good competition for that grant. Something that was brought to the select board's attention the other night, earlier this week, is a tri-town trail. It's a shared use trail that Pittsford and Proctor and West Rutland are planning. They initially didn't think it would go through Rutland town land, but then they had 3 options and they actually didn't like the 3 that they were working with, so they came up with a 4th, which brings it down the West Proctor Road for a section. And so they were just letting the select board know about that they were going to go for a scoping study, a preliminary design study, most likely for that 4th option. And it was amusing that the select board thought that maybe the title should be changed now. It's four
Rather-
towns.
That
I'm
what?
not quite sure what you would call it, but
Quad town, the quad town, right?
Hi guys.
yeah.
I was gonna wait till the end to give kind of an update, but the Velomont Trail is starting to move forward. They have staff working on finding the exact routes, so we started working with them. But that is one of the areas that they were talking about using for the Velomont Trail too, the Four Town Trail. Potentially would be part of the larger trail.
Oh, okay. Are they working with pretty much Judy Frazier, the Proctor town manager, is steering this initiative?
Okay.
Are they talking to her?
We haven't talked to her. We've been talking with Marianne Goulet of West Rutland.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Because we're looking at a couple different options also. So, you know, we may end up using that, or there might be a different route. But yeah, definitely a good group to, you know, we'll be involved with them.
Oh,
Sounds good.
Yeah, and it would be great if Rutland Town, participated, and I'd
Yeah.
be happy to be a contact with that.
And the option they're looking at now is not off West Proctor Road. It'll be part of the, part of the road. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. It will, it'll be a trail, it'll be off highway trail coming down from Pittsford.
Yeah.
Somewhat near the town farm. And then crossing over, and then to get to Business Route 4 and to West Rutland, they're looking at the West Proctor Road, but it would be on the shoulder and that stretch.
how much shoulder on
Would
that?
that be an expansion or they would it widen it? There's no shoulder there now.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I guess to be determined and
Yeah.
appropriate marking,
Yeah.
at the very least.
That need it, yeah.
Yeah.
A bike lane.
How
on it.
much of the West Proctor Road, the whole thing in Rutland Town?
No.
I don't-
No, part of it is
No,
in Proctor.
first-
Part of it's in Proctor and only,
3/4 of it's in Proctor probably, because it goes all the way up to the old castle here.
Yeah.
From Proctor. So,
Yeah, and it would come onto the road near the castle, is my understanding,
from
from an off.
From the west.
the west. Okay.
west, you got the river on one side, and I can't imagine where they're going with it, but they must have a
Yeah.
plan on.
Let's go biking
Sort
home
of.
and when the weather gets warmer. How's that?
And Mary Beth, that's
You and
probably
I
not
and
what the
Sherman.
what you Velomont folks are thinking of, on-road section?
so it's most likely going to be a mix. We're pretty much in all parts of. It's going to go through Rutland Town twice because we're, it's going in through ideally Northwood Park, and then picking up on the sidewalk and the bike path going into the city. But they're expecting to have some sections that follow roads, but ideally it would be off of the road or separated from the road. So it's still early stages, but they're looking at having, kind of like with that trail plan, having 3 or 4 different options for routes, and they'll kind of pursue them and see which one ends up being the best. As far
So
as
Mary Beth,
landowners and
given that it would be coming through Northwood, right? Is that what we said before?
Mhm.
yeah.
And we come down, it was basically down Post Road. I mean, I'm not gonna say it right on Post Road, but down that way, crossing over Route 7, because there was a plan at some point to cross over Route 7 and to get into the city. Is that right? Is that
Yeah.
still correct? So
Correct.
where,
So
where does it join Proctor then?
So
Rutland
it
Town.
would, the trail most likely would go to Pine Hill. Well, it's going to go to Pine Hill Park. So
Yep,
there,
got that. That's,
there's going to be a route between Northwood Park and Pine Hill Park, and then from Pine Hill Park. But there's another option. Ideally, people wouldn't be going through the city on the city roads, or that would be an option.
Right.
But ideally, there would also be a trail option, which would be north of town, and then that would be what would connect over. So it's
Okay,
one
so
of the
coming-
potential options, but
so Mary Beth, let me explain something. So that would be the southern route that went towards Pine Hill Park. You're saying that there's a northern route then that would cross over like around McKinley, run into the town, and then what? Cross over, go down Stevens Road and then into Proctor, or what? Because I don't see a whole lot of.
Isn't there a trail from Pine Hill Park right into Proctor? There's a
There's-
trail
There's
along.
this
There's-
hiking,
Yes,
There's a
there
hiking
is.
trail. It's the
Well-
old carriage trail.
so it could be
Could be that though.
shared use.
I thought they used that as biking, but you guys would know better than me. I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't
So
it
think,
could be
I don't,
both,
yeah, I've
yeah.
hiked it a couple of times.
well, it's like part of
What's
the
that,
mountain
Beth?
biking, kind of a rougher, not a bike path, but it's like the carriage trail is kind of like the trails at Pine Hill Park for mountain biking, but also people hike on it. And
It's
but,
very rough. Trail there is
right,
very
it
rough.
is.
And sometimes you
Right.
can't, it's steep, and you can't always see. I mean, that would require a significant amount of trail development, I think. When my
Right.
wife and I and my family did a couple of hikes up there, it's not
Yeah.
easy, and it's a flea haven as well. A very heavily infested flea.
Ticks in place.
Fleas and ticks. Ticks is what I meant. Tick haven. So yeah, I mean, it's overgrown. It would have to be
Well,
manicured significantly.
it is a mountain
just for
biking trail.
Right.
I mean, the whole,
yeah.
the whole thing,
I never saw anybody biking on
oh,
that trail.
I have biked it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
On the carriage trail,
yeah.
the whole thing?
Well, yeah,
Boston?
just to get to the top is the hard part. Yeah, the other side is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I went to the top and then headed
From,
north.
you went to the top from, the Pine Hill side?
Yeah, from
Okay.
George Eddy.
I think that's easier than the Proctor side, but that's just.
Mary Beth,
Oh yeah.
did you have something to add?
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
Just wondering if you had something to add. I didn't know if you were trying to
Oh.
interject.
Oh no. I was just saying that was cool that Sherman is riding on his bike. I've run it a couple of times. I used to do a leaf chase 10K there, but I haven't ridden on it. But that's cool. Well, so we talked about potential routes. We just had an initial conversation. I think it was Tuesday, with people that work for the Belmont now and are the project managers, and then Shelley Lust and I. So there isn't anything set in stone, but saying roughly north. We don't know about using like the carriage trail in particular, but in some way it'll be connected, even if the Belmont isn't on that tri or quad town trail. It'll still connect to it because it's going through Pine Hill Park, and then we're ultimately going through West Rutland and down to Slate Valley trails in Poultney. It's kind of the general flow, but we're looking at kind of several different options. So
And that would connect to the rail trail there, going over to Poultney through Castleton?
hopefully, that's a tough part. We might.
What do you mean that's?
So
don't know yet,
the
but-
Bird Mountain Wildlife Management Area is a very sensitive area, and the state does not want a trail going through there. So we'd have to go on one side or the other of that. So either through Castleton or like up in the mountains, kind of behind West Rutland, you know?
Because the Slate Valley trails don't, Mary Beth could, the Slate Valley trails don't connect to the rail trail.
Oh, okay.
So I think, am I right, Mary
Yes.
Beth?
Yeah, I don't think they directly connect. They're both in Pulteney, but it's like different parts of Pulteney. So they're gonna, I think what it's gonna end up being is probably like a couple different routes, because there's the like flatter bike path type of route that it will take probably a lot longer in some areas, you know, connecting to the rail trail. And probably what would happen in the to begin with is there's like kind of a mountainous, rougher route, just because that. So I think ultimately there may end up being two different routes, or move from one to the other. It's a huge, yeah, it's a huge project with a ton of landowners. So it's still early stages, other than roughly the towns that we want to go to, and connecting the dots of those big mountain biking, running destinations.
Mary Beth, do you have, or can you give me a sense of how the trail would go from West Rutland to Castleton?
So, it would be awesome so there are vast trails right now. Like when I was meeting up with you guys, we were talking about vast trails. There are some existing, but it's different because it would be used all year round instead of just the snow. So, but wherever we can overlap with that, you know, work with the same landowners that are already used to having a trail, that would be great. There's the old Funkhauser trolley line, but unfortunately it's all privately owned now. That goes kind of parallel to the railroad along 4A. A lot of the areas are wet, so but we could do boardwalks. So that was one idea that we had, just because it's pretty flat, but would require a lot of planning.
And so right now, there is no specific outline of a trail going from West Rutland to Castleton. Is that correct? There's no
Correct.
concrete idea on the table for that. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's like people would like to see it happen, but
Sure.
there aren't still, very early, just like idea stage right now.
Right. And nothing specific, because anything that would go through Castleton anything that would go through West Rutland into Castleton would cost multiple landowners' property.
Right. Yep. And no landowner outreach has been done yet, or anything. So
Right.
these are
Okay.
just like very,
Okay, thanks. Sounds
Yep.
exciting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, everyone. Any word, Bill? Okay.
Well,
Also at the select board meeting the other night, the Cortina came up again. And the state is thinking about letting it open up again.
They were supposed to
Just
have a
received a
follow-up
letter.
inspection. And we don't know if that's happened or if it has, what the results of that was.
Results of what, I'm sorry, I was,
The Cortina needed to have a follow-up inspection before they could reopen. We don't know if that's been done, or if it was, what the result was. So we did get a letter after the fact last time, but we haven't heard anything from them.
okay.
So,
If it were to to be opened again, if that was allowed, how would that mesh with the voucher program going forward?
well, the winter one is ending,
April 1st.
like in a couple days,
Yep.
so it would be, we don't know, but We don't know. Like, we don't know if they're gonna, because it is optional for them to accept the vouchers. So we don't know if they're gonna try accepting them again or not, what the plan is, so, and the building's been sitting since December without really anybody in it, so.
Yeah,
It's not, never mind. Keep my comment.
yeah, I haven't noticed that there been much activity there as far as remedying some of the problems and,
The police department has noticed the lack of people in that end of town,
The lack of what?
people,
There.
yes.
of any type,
So it's
the
been less of a
management
problem.
and,
There've been less problems down there in the last couple months than they've had in the past, so.
oh, right. Right. Okay. Any other announcements? Yeah, we got the minutes.
Might as well do them.
I just have
Yeah.
a question. I just have a question. What's, at one point, something came to my attention about folks camping out behind the old mall. Is that problematic, still problematic? Or
That'd be probably a question for Ed or Ted at the police department, but. I don't know.
I just kind of heard serendipitously.
There's more than one encampment.
Yeah,
around.
okay, okay.
On the one on the other side of Route 7 too.
By Farrell in that area, or
And Granbury.
pretty sizable ones.
Well, you can see it from Route 4 when you drive over.
By the railroad tracks. Oh,
It looked. And it usually has a way of growing as the weather warms.
Yeah.
It gets pretty big, looks like. But-
So when the winter voucher program ends, some of those people will be looking for someplace to stay or another hotel.
Yep. But the voucher program limited the number of days in a year that a person could be eligible for. But those days were separate from the cold weather program. So that was what, December 1st through March 31st, those 4 months didn't count toward those days. So
It's like 180 days or
Yeah,
something
it
like
was-
that.
It's 80 days
80.
on the non-winter month
right,
usage for voucher.
so it's separate from those. The cold winter months. didn't
Right.
count.
So they essentially get another set of vouchers. Correct.
But it
Seems
doesn't-
so, but Rutland, we did get a letter from, but a general letter from DCF saying the program's ending. And that it did go over like the numbers of people on assistance in each area, and Rutland had the most.
Is there any coordination at any level for addressing the root cause of the camping? And is there a vision for how to graduate people from that type of lodging to more conventional?
We have not been
Logic.
approached by landowners nor the state for any discussions on anything.
So as far as the town is concerned, the answer would be no, but that mean the city is taking some.
Yeah, right, I understand that, but
But no, we have not been approached by public or private entities about looking at solutions. We didn't even know the inspections were, the follow-up inspection happened at the Cortina, like we weren't involved in that at all, so it's.
The letter you received just said it had been done.
The letter, when we had to ask for the report for the Cortina. The one that was sent, it was like late Tuesday. That said, the program's coming to an end and here's the counts in the areas, we're just kind of sent out to all the different towns. It was just more of a general advisory letter about the program coming to an end and here's how many are on the program in each area, so.
Do we have, does the town have any representation on any of the committees that are being formed in the city with respect to
I thought there was someone.
I know there's been discussions, but we haven't been, I mean, there's no board members that I'm aware of that are part of that, or nobody's been asked, and we don't, there's limited people in town that would be appropriate to put on that kind of committee, and
Well, I think maybe the discussion was the health officer should be on that and whether it happened or not.
I will tell you that he is not on it right now. 'Cause he's
the reason that I ask is that, I mean, when you're drawing maps, migration patterns do not respect theoretical, non-concrete boundaries. And I think it would be in the town's interest to have somebody participate in those talks and planning so that we might learn from our neighbors and perhaps tag team with them to come up with solutions.
I don't think there's opposition to participating. I don't know if we should be waiting to be invited or if we should be proactive and knock on the door, but there, to my knowledge, there's have not been discussions on that yet.
They may be revived, depending on what happens here.
Yeah, I think that, you know,
Okay,
if us.
so if, we can get to the minutes.
Yes, go ahead, Jerry.
Well, just before we do that, since it looks like we're gonna not connect with Kevin, what should our next steps be there?
Set it up again.
I-
Set it up.
You think so? You think
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll try again. I've sent messages and phone calls and that was not.
You won't
He
be
shows up at 7:30 for some reason.
No, I took, no.
I'm sorry.
No, we're not connected to him tonight, so it's just, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but we'll try again.
it won't be a moot point in 3 weeks. I mean, you will have finished all your,
There were some things he
Business.
talked to me about that if you'd like, we could go into executive session because it's advice from counsel and I have that, so it's not a lot, but it's
you have what? I'm sorry?
advice from him
On,
So,
To
on-
share with us.
to share with you. So
that he thinks should be done in executive session,
that is permissible for executive session for advice from counsel, yes.
right? So we need to hear that. So let's try again in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Reschedule, Kevin.
When's the next meeting?
3 weeks.
April 17th.
I'm sorry.
April 17th.
okay, Jerry.
I can't wait.
Minutes.
I was just suggesting it. I wasn't here, so it doesn't.
Go ahead, you can make the motion.
Right.
Motion that we accept the minutes from March 6th as written.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I just wanted to see if you guys knew. I heard recently that you don't actually need to have attended the meeting in order to vote on the minutes. You just have to have read them. And I was wondering if you guys, what you guys thought about that.
I don't know about that.
Mary Beth, that's something I've been advocating for since we drafted our rules of procedure. And I'm not gonna say
Okay.
anything further on the matter.
I didn't know to open up a can of worms. I just thought it was interesting. Normally it doesn't matter, but we have had it before where it's been,
Yeah, we've had to delay the vote, a meeting or something or
Or
two.
3 or yeah, a month
yeah.
more.
Well, anyway, I wasn't there, so I'll abstain for now, but I just thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, I think that's the normal practice or what's done in
Okay.
most cases. And
Okay.
it only seems fair. Only seems fair. I mean, you wouldn't be voting on something you didn't attend. You didn't know what had
Yeah.
happened.
Mhm.
Unless you read the
Okay.
minutes or watch. That's okay.
Sometimes the minutes so don't reflect I mean, they reflect, I don't know. I mean, they do, but they don't kind of give you the feeling of what the meeting was all about.
Yeah.
It's just an
There's,
opinion.
there's no emotion,
Yeah, no emotion.
no indication of which way people were leaning.
Right.
Uh,
Like a
Yeah.
nasty look on my face about something, that sort of like that.
it's always there.
Yeah, good boy.
You guys want to speak up because Norman
I don't
can't
think they
hear
would really want to.
No,
you.
better left unsaid.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor
And a second.
and a second, yes, to approve the minutes for March 6th. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
That would be me.
Yeah.
I said,
Okay, anything else for the good of the cause here? Okay,
would you like another motion?
yeah,
Adjourn.
Second.
all right. We're adjourned. Thank you.
You mean